Kaushi, this has been very interesting and insightful conversation. I'd like to move to the next segment of the conversation. And the next segment is rapid fire questions. And one of the reasons why I ask certain questions in this segment is just to let our audience know that leaders are just another human beings, just like you and me, right? And we
Yes.
want to get to know other side of our speakers. That's the whole intent. And I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire wherein you can answer them briefly in a word or in a maximum in a phrase. Is that okay?
Yes. I love the intention around these rapid fire questions because you want to humanize me. So guess what? I can make errors.
Wonderful. Let's get started then. And here comes the first bullet. Have you ever slept in a classroom or a critical meeting or a conference?
I think I've been very wise to step out of the meeting and maybe use the washroom and come back, just freshen up and come back. Yeah. So not slept, but I've yawned a couple of times. And sometimes you feel like maybe you need a matchstick to keep your eyelid so that you place it near your eyelids so they stay open. Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Yeah, fair enough. And what motivates you every day?
I think the fact that, I'm alive. Yeah, it makes a big deal because I think the realization, I know you said a phrase, but can I take a little more than a phrase?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
I think when my friend's husband called me up saying, she's very critical and you do not know if she will live too long. Do you want to come and see her? She's in the ICU. At that time, what struck me was it's amazing how we go to bed with the assumption that I will wake up next day, right? Why do we take this for granted?
Indeed. Yeah.
And I think for me, death has been my greatest teacher. And so from that standpoint, the fact that I'm alive is my motivation.
Wow. All right. So let's go ahead with the next one. Can you describe yourself in just one word?
Creative.
Awesome.
And if I had to ask you this question, if you had one word to describe me, what would that word be?
Inspiring.
Okay. That, you know what? Here's where I did my person brand check, right? Like, how do I want to be perceived? And who am I? Is that who I am? And is there a gap? So thank you so much.
So moving ahead, and did you ever steal anything from anyone? And I want you to talk about something physical or materialistic.
Yeah. So, when I thought about it, have I stolen things? No, but have I sneaked up and done things? Yes. So things like, when you're this little girl, your parents have gone out and you just feel you want to have Horlicks, you pop a spoon into the jar and you think you've done a great job and your parents, mom won't get to know you. Wet the spoon, put it back. So when she comes back, it's like a messy. That's one. It stayed with me. Then my mom actually said how to pop the Horlicks from the spoon, right? I found that funny actually today when I think back at it. And another thing I think I greatly remember is it's very clear. It's the orange lipstick my mom would have. And I was very fascinated, but she said, you're not supposed to use lipsticks and everything. So I remember she had gone out. I dug into her bag, used the lipstick, royally used it, broke it as well, put it back, but never told her that. And then she discovers it on her own. I don't know how the story ended, but I think those are the things that I have sneaked up on.
See, this is the beauty of a rapid fire round. We get to know the other side, other side of you, right? All right. So let's go ahead and fire the last bullet. And one of my favorite questions. And I really ask this question just to get to know the imagination and creativity of the guest. Right. So what is one electronic gadget or the fantasy gadget that you would like to invent yourself or would like to see it live in the world?
I think for me, it would be, I thought through this because I thought if even someone hears it and they kind of can execute, it would be really wonderful. If we can set our phones on to follow the circadian rhythm, okay? Because I just feel that it's so easy to be glued to the phone. I mean, you will say, today I'm going to get to bed early. And very few have a bedtime routine, right? And I believe it's important to have a bedtime routine. I'm very sacred about these things. But at the same time, I'm also concerned that a lot of people who don't follow it. Then how do you have a product that takes care of that, that offsets that? So what if your phone has a circadian rhythm? It's like designed in such a way that it follows the circadian rhythm. And like how in the past, when there were no gadgets, so there was no electricity, you would just turn off and you would get to bed. And I'm not saying technology has not been helpful. It's changed and enhanced the quality of life. But if you're not mindful and you allow it to consume you, that's where I would question it. So that is where I felt my gadget would be a phone that is aligned with your circadian rhythm. So people get to bed on time and they're energetic and happy waking up next morning.
I think that has a purpose, and someone listening or watching this show, I think this is a great idea. So probably you can pick it up, and I think we'll be the first consumers to buy it. Wonderful.
And I do not know. I get curious to know what would your invention be in that way.
My invention is simple. Just any device which is cable free. Because right now, if you look at the other side of the desk where I'm sitting, right, it is full of cables and all. I want to create those gadgets which are cable free, because that will reduce a lot of carbon emissions as well. Because the other day I've been to a mobile service center, and I was surprised to see the heap of chargers, okay, that were of old models and all, right, which contributes to a lot of carbon emissions and all if they are not disposed properly and all. So my thing would be that.
Okay, that's wonderful to know. That's wonderful to know. See, I learned something new.
I'm glad to you asked those questions, and also this has been fabulous conversation so far, and I thoroughly enjoyed the rapid fire.